Hey, this is Sam Black with my first match with Grixis Madness in Modern. I'm going to keep the hand that I have. I have a Jace to discard this prized amalgam and Haunted Dead so that I can return the prized amalgam or return the Haunted Dead and get the prized amalgam and start doing the stuff. And then if the Jace dies, I have a backup plan with the Necromancer stockpile, which will be slower but more reliable. So, a pretty good starting point here. Alright, that's another good fast backup, but I'm going to start by just playing the Jace. Faithless Looting will be best. If my opponent plays a creature, I can play it and Fiery Temper, discarding Fiery Temper and prized amalgam. Or rather, Fiery Temper and Haunted Dead, so that I can discard prized amalgam to Haunted Dead. Alright, so my opponent did kill my Jace, but still a fine situation here because I get to do this. Discard the Haunted Dead and the Fiery Temper as I talked about. Play the Fiery Temper with Madness on the Young Pyromancer. And I'll play this land, sacrifice it, and just get a Swamp and Inquisition my opponent. So Spear, Vapor Snag, and Spell Pierce. I think I just take this Swift Spear. I don't really mind these tempo elements if my opponent's not clocking me. The Spell Pierce can counter the Liliana. That would be pretty good to play otherwise, but I'm up so many cards that I think I'll win given time, so I just want to take things to slow my opponent down. Alright, I think I'm just going to return the Haunted Dead, discarding prized amalgam and Gravecrawler, and then I can cast the Gravecrawler. This obviously gives my opponent things to Grim Lavamancer, but it doesn't let my opponent use the Spell Pierce this turn. And I'm not really that concerned about Grim Lavamancer killing any of the creatures that I'm putting into play. My opponent could Vapor Snag the Haunted Dead to stop me from casting the Gravecrawler. If my opponent did that, I would probably just use the Faithless Looting, which, if I'm lucky, would then draw a Spell Pierce, which would clear the way for Liliana. So Vapor Snagging prized amalgam is usually pretty good because I have to go through all the trouble to get it into my graveyard again to get it into play for free. But when I have Faithless Looting, the extra card that I want to discard is actually quite valuable. So I'm just going to cast the Faithless Looting. I don't want to flashback Faithless Looting because I don't want to let my opponent's Spell Pierce hit my whole turn here, basically. So I'll just discard both Prized Amalgams and attack with just the Gravecrawler. I want my opponent to have to kill the Haunted Dead, and I don't want to race because I think that I have inevitability. So I'm going to just leave the Haunted Dead back to block the Elemental or get killed. And I think I'm going to play a land, and I'm not going to cast anything because I don't want to validate the Spell Pierce, and I want to have mana up to return Haunted Dead if my opponent kills it. Alright, so my opponent killed the Haunted Dead. So I'm going to return it. And I'll discard. I guess Liliana is very good against the Grimlavamancer, but I don't want to cast it into Spell Pierce, so I'm actually just going to discard the Liliana and keep the Necromancer's stockpile, which I think will also be good in this matchup. And I'm just going to trade off here. I just want to preserve my life total because I think that my engine is well enough established at this point that I have inevitability. So my opponent concedes there. In this matchup, I just want more grinding, so more sources of card advantage, and I don't want to expose myself to my opponent's Spell Pierces, so Liliana of the Veil isn't great. Liliana of Last Hope is pretty good, though, as my opponent has showed me a bunch of valuable one-toughness creatures. Dark Salvation is pretty easy to counter, but I can also just play it for low values of X to kill my opponent's creatures for not very much mana, so I think it's good. I'm going to cut Inquisition. I'm not really looking to make one-for-one trades. And I'm not sure what the last two cuts should be. I think I care a lot about the life gain from Grey Merchant, even though it's annoyingly expensive. It's possible that Grave Scrabbler is too slow, and I have better ways of doing that now. If that's true, it bodes poorly for the card in general, but it does kind of take the most setup. I like the other stuff I have going on. I think I'm just going to cut this. I feel like Nightshade Assassin is doing a similar role, but in a more like tempo positive way, or a way that's more likely to keep me alive for my much stronger late game. So this is a matchup where Haunted Dead really shines. I'm going to keep this because I have a Faithless Looting and a Prized Amalgam and a Gravecrawler. But obviously I could run into problems if I don't find another land, but I have so many draw steps. I need a land in my top 4 cards, basically. so it should be fine. I'm a little worried about my Faithless Looting getting spell pierced. Ooh. I was going to say, but my opponent will probably just spend mana on turn 1 to let me get it through. But now, if my opponent doesn't, I have to decide if that's because my opponent has a spell pierce, and if so, if I want to just not cast a spell into it. Probably can't afford to not cast into it, though. But we'll see what my opponent does and what I draw. Alright. So I get to resolve my Faithless Looting. I think I'm going to get Blood Crypt here, although there's an argument for Steam Vents given that I drew Jace. I guess I don't exactly need black mana. Or I do, but almost everything gives it to me. Yeah, I guess I'll get Steam Vents. I'm going to discard Prized Amalgam and Gravecrawler. I can't get the Gravecrawler back yet, but I need it in my graveyard to get Prized Amalgam back, and the Dark Salvations can give me my first zombie. Possible that I needed to keep Gravecrawler just so that I could play it to power up Dark Salvation, but given that I didn't get a black mana here, I couldn't really cast them the same turn, so alright. Let's play Jace. And at this point my life total is pretty low, so I'm not super optimistic about being able to stabilize. Yeah, that's not good. That's really bad. Yeah, I'm dead. Okay. I'm thinking Dark Salvation is a little slow for this matchup, and I need cheaper spells. Yeah, Dark Salvation can be a cheap removal spell, but it requires me to have a board, which is certainly not something that I can reliably expect to have. So I need to move more toward just being able to stop my opponent from killing me right away. So let's try this. This is good. Start things off by getting those in the graveyard. And now I have a Fiery Temper for an opposing creature that I can cast off this Faithless Looting. doesn't present a creature, then I'll just play the stockpile, which will let me discard Grey Merchant to get a zombie, which will let me return Gravecrawler, which will return Prized Amalgam. That's not good. Don't want to damage myself here, and I want to be able to Faithless Looting into Fiery Temper, so I'm getting a mountain. If looking for a land here so that I can cast the Gravecrawler, but did not get one. Alright, my graveyard business is off, but I am not that reliant on it. I still have Madness-based card advantage. I think the most important thing is that my opponent isn't clocking me. Alright, that is totally fine. I think I just pass here. Lightning Bolt me. That's pretty aggressive. Couldn't tell you why Magic Online has decided that Lightning Bolt is a blue card. Discard and deal 2 damage. I think that's better than killing a relic when my opponent only has 1 card in hand. Ooh, that was a good discard. Got rid of a Bedlam Ruffler. Just gonna play the Darkslick Shores and pass. I'm viewing myself as the control deck here. I don't think that I'm in any real hurry to discard these Fiery Tempers. Alright, now I'll fire off the Faithless Looting, since there's a target. And I'll discard Stockpile doesn't do anything, so I'm pretty sure I'm discarding that. Yeah, I guess I discard Stockpile and Fiery Temper, and then I can discard the Haunted Dead to the Necromancer's Stockpile that I have in play. And I think I might as well play the Blood Crypt. It is possible that I want to keep the Haunted Dead in my... Yep. Alright, so I'm going to keep the Haunted Dead in my hand so that I can reveal it to the Nightshade Assassin. That's fine, I guess. It disables my play of revealing madnessing out Nightshade Assassin. So I guess I will just discard the Haunted Dead. I think I just discard the cycle Nightshade Assassin first, so that I can get Haunted Dead into my... so that I can return the Haunted Dead, basically. So I'm not going to cast this. And my opponent failed to do anything with that relic. So now... oh wait, I can't return. I need another black to be able to return the Haunted Dead. That is stupid. Anyway, activate this. Discard this. And now I have a tapped zombie. Which I guess I need to kill this now since I can't return the Haunted Dead. Alright, so now I'm going to attack. And I think I'm going to discard Haunted Dead to try to force my opponent to Breaker Relic. Well, I don't really care about my opponent's graveyard unless my opponent draws Bedlam Reveler. And if my alternative is to discard Grave Scrabbler to make another zombie and draw a card, my cards aren't great since I can't only have one black per turn. But an uncounterable 2/2 in a card is probably better than a counterable 2/2 and a 1/1. I guess I'll discard Crypt Breaker. Because Grave Scrabbler gets better by more. Well, Grave Scrabbler doesn't really get better because of these relics. I guess I'll discard Grave Scrabbler. So now I'm basically set to just make 1/2/2 per turn. And whether that's going to be good enough is going to depend on how soon my opponent can flip this Delver, for one thing. So my opponent missing there was a good start. If I can draw another swamp, I'll be in much better shape, since then I can do multiple things or cast the Grey Merchant. I guess any zombie is a fine draw as it keeps my chain going, but I think I'm basically going to be able to do this until the end of the game. Reveler. Magnus Bray and then Reveler, because that's still 5 cards. No. Not Reveler would be really good for me. Nope, Reveler. Alright, well, don't love my chances now, but let's just keep doing the thing. Uh-oh. I'm dead if I don't block Reveler, so I have to block Reveler, and there's no reason to double block it, so we're just throwing one zombie in front of it. If it attacks. No. Pretty sure it's supposed to attack since it kills a zombie, and that's the most it can do on defense. None of this matters. I think I'm just dead. Relics were effective, but I think the Blood Moon is what really got me. I just needed to be making more plays. If this doesn't flip and my opponent doesn't have anything and I draw a Gray Merchant, no, it flipped. Okay, I'm dead. Those two attack and my opponent casts Lightning Bolt.